Picture a book cover, right? It's an absolute masterpiece of early internet aesthetics. Like a silver laptop sits open, and it's surrounded by literal burlap sacks just overflowing with money.
Oh, yeah. Those classic burlap sacks with the giant dollar signs on them.
Exactly. And there are stacks of $100 bills scattered everywhere. And just to top it off, there are actual butterflies fluttering around in this golden glowing sky.
It's so over the top. I mean, it is the quintessential visual definition of the get-rich-quick promise.
Yeah. And the subtitle boldly promises to help you start your own cash-sucking online business today. In all caps, of course.
Naturally, the imagery there, it practically screams at the viewer. It's designed to bypass logic completely and aim straight for the dopamine centers.
It really is. It's the kind of image that instantly makes you want to, guard your wallet. But the massive irony of this document, and really the whole reason we are doing this deep dive for you today, happens the moment you turn past that flashy cover.
Right, because the tone shifts immediately.
It does. On the very first page of the introduction, the author drops a massive reality check. They explicitly warn that 95% to 99% of people completely fail at internet marketing.
Which is a staggering failure rate to admit right up front.
Yeah, and the reason they fail, according to the author, is precisely because they fall for snake oil salesmen selling those exact get-rich-quick schemes, the ones with the butterflies on the cover.
The juxtaposition there is striking. I mean, the cover is the bait, but the text is the trap snapping shut on the very concept of easy money.
So our mission today is to strip away all that hype. We're going to ignore the shiny objects, the butterflies, and the bags of cash. We want to extract the actual factual mechanics of building a sustainable, scalable online business, just as it's outlined in this source.
Because beneath that highly dramatic cover is actually a surprisingly rigorous manual.
It really is.
What's fascinating here is how quickly the document pivots. It uses the visual language of the hype machine, right? But almost immediately shifts into a highly pragmatic, grounded discussion about human psychology and foundational business mechanics.
Yeah, it doesn't even mention coding or algorithms for a while.
Exactly. It doesn't start with tech. It starts with the mind.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before you can build a business that makes any money, this source argues you have to fix the machinery of your own mind first.
Which is where most people get stuck.
Right. We go straight from that massive 99% failure rate warning into the primary cause of that failure. And the author identifies that cause as info overload and just a complete lack of focus.
The author hits on a very real vulnerability there. When you decide you want to build an online business, your first instinct is to consume information. You think you need to learn everything.
Oh, totally. You subscribe to every newsletter.
Right. You buy every new must-have course. And the document points out that most of what is being sold won't actually work for your specific situation.
It just creates this paralyzing noise.
Exactly, a noise that prevents any actual execution from happening.
Buying all these endless marketing products without taking action is, it's like buying a garage full of really expensive gym equipment, but never actually lifting a single weight.
That's a great way to put it.
You're constantly researching the best treadmill, you're buying new dumbbells, and it feels like you're making progress. But it's really just very expensive procrastination.
Yeah, you're substituting the feeling of preparation for the actual friction of execution. So to combat this, the source provides a very strict three-step plan to banish that info overload.
It was pretty ruthless, too.
Very.
Wow.
First, you have to ruthless unsubscribe from all marketers who aren't actively providing you value. Just cut them out. Second, you must immediately stop buying products you know you'll never use.
Which is harder than it sounds when everything has a countdown timer on it.
Oh, the artificial scarcity gets you every time. But the third step is the most critical. You find one product or business model where you trust the creator and you follow it to the absolute end.
Just one.
Just one. You do not stop until you've made a success of that single method.
It's all about narrowing your field of vision. And the author doesn't just stop at what you consume, right? They get incredibly prescriptive about how you actually spend your time during the day.
They lay out a whole productivity system.
Yeah, it's a 4-step productivity hack that is basically an all-out war on distraction. Step 1 is switching off all email alerts. The author literally calls checking emails the most important tool of the serial procrastinator.
Which is so true. We use email to feel busy.
Exactly. They advise checking it strictly once or twice a day, period.
Which forces you to be proactive rather than reactive. Then step 2 is batching your work.
Right, into solid, uninterrupted stints.
Yeah, 1-hour stints followed by a break. because focusing on just one task with zero distractions dramatically spikes your productivity. Then step 3 is utilizing a physical to-do list.
Not a digital one, but a physical one, right?
Yes, and not just for organization, but for the psychological momentum of actually physically ticking things off a piece of paper.
There is something so satisfying about crossing a line through a task. And then step 4 is a daily review of your progress to spot what the author calls your lazy days.
Yeah, to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, you track what you did, and if you slacked off, you use that data to drive you to do better the next day.
If we look at the psychology behind this, it's really about shifting your relationship with friction. The document explores how you handle problems when they inevitably come up.
Because they always do.
Right. When an issue crops up, the natural human response is often, why does this always happen to me?
The classic victim mindset.
Exactly. It's passive. The author insists on replacing that with an active problem-solving mindset. You have to ask, how can I overcome this?
It completely flips the script.
It does. They reframe problems as necessary opportunities to learn something valuable. And once you train your brain to search for solutions, answers you previously overlooked start jumping right off the page.
Okay, so assuming you've got this mental machinery tuned up, your mindset is focused, you aren't drowning in emails, you're batching your work, where do you actually direct all that energy?
You have to build the foundation.
Right. You need infrastructure.
Yeah.
So the source transitions from mental preparation to digital infrastructure, basically building your digital real estate.
Because at the end of the day, you can't monetize what you don't control. The document splits this into 2 categories, distinguishing between platforms you merely leverage and platforms you actually own.
Wait, isn't writing code and setting up websites too technical for the average person? I mean, most people hear terms like HTML or servers and just immediately tune out.
It's a fair concern, but the source explicitly addresses this barrier to entry. They prove it's actually much lower than you might assume.
Really? How so?
Take content creation, for example. You don't need perfect grammar. The advice is simply to, quote, write how you speak.
Oh, that takes a lot of pressure off.
Yeah, and if typing itself is a bottleneck, they suggest using voice recognition software, like Dragon Naturally Speaking, to dictate your thoughts.
So you just talk to your computer and it types for you. That's a clever workaround. If typing is the friction point, just bypass the keyboard entirely.
Exactly. And for the websites themselves, they talk about using free HTML editors like Composer.
Which is basically like using a Microsoft Word document, right?
Pretty much. But instead of saving as a printable page, it saves as a functional web page. Or, even more importantly, they recommend setting up a WordPress blog.
WordPress is a game changer.
It really is, because it allows you to update your site without knowing any code at all. You can just install small pieces of software called plugins to automate complex tasks.
Like social bookmarking, right? Which the document mentions is essentially getting your site automatically shared on platforms like Reddit or Dig to build that early momentum.
Right. But there's a really crucial distinction the document makes here about where you put all this content. They heavily differentiate between your money site and your Web 2.0 sites.
Yeah, this part is fascinating.
This is a vital architectural concept for an online business. Web 2.0 sites, according to the document, are platforms like Facebook, Blogger, Squidoo, Huppages, or YouTube.
Basically anywhere the users generate the content themselves.
Exactly. And they are massively powerful because they already have huge authority in the search engines. Google inherently trusts a YouTube video or a Facebook page.
Relying on them 100% though is, well, it's like renting an apartment where the landlord can just decide to evict you without any warning.
That is the perfect analogy.
If Facebook or Blogger changes their rules or they just randomly delete your account, your entire business vanishes overnight. Poof. Gone.
Which happens all the time.
So you need your own money site. You use a hosting service like HostGator to store your files, and you buy a domain name from somewhere like Namecheap, so you have a permanent address. That is like owning your own house. You completely control the land.
Right. You use the Web 2.0 properties to leverage their search engine power and drive traffic back to the digital real estate that you actually own.
That makes a lot of sense.
And once you have people on your owned real estate, the document introduces what is arguably the most important tool in the entire ecosystem, the autoresponder.
Oh, yes. Services like Aweber or GetResponse.
Exactly. These tools capture email addresses and automatically send out pre-written sequences of messages over days, weeks, or even months.
This is where you really build your database. And the source drops a golden metric here that blew my mind a little. They suggest that, generally speaking, every single subscriber on your email list is worth about $1 a month in revenue.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it fundamentally changes how you view your business.
How so?
Because the true asset of your online enterprise isn't actually your website, and it's certainly not a single product you're selling. The real tangible asset is the relationship and the trust you build with that list of buyers over time.
The list is the business.
Exactly. If you have 1,000 subscribers who trust your recommendations, that's a baseline of $1,000 a month because you can email them repeatedly with new relevant offers.
So you own the real estate and you're collecting emails.
Mhm.
But a list of emails isn't a business until money actually changes hands. How is this author suggesting we extract value from that audience?
The source breaks down several specific monetization models. The first one they touch on is AdSense.
That's Google's program, right? Where you display their text or image ads on your site.
Right. And you get paid a very small amount every time a visitor clicks on one of those ads.
The author's pretty candid about AdSense, though. They admit it's kind of old hat, and the payouts have dropped significantly.
Yeah, it's not the gold rush it used to be.
It's totally passive, which is nice, but it should really only be used for supplemental income to pay some hosting bills. You wouldn't build a massive business around it.
No, definitely not. The real scalable income comes from models like affiliate marketing.
Where you sell other people's products and take a percentage of the sale?
Exactly. And the document outlines a few strategies here. One is creating review pages.
Oh, I've seen these.
Yeah, where you review, ideally, 3 different products in a specific niche. You recommend the best one, obviously, but you include your affiliate links for all 3 just in case the reader prefers a different option.
That's smart. You capture the sale regardless of their final choice.
Right. They also heavily emphasize utilizing huge affiliate networks like ClickBank and RepBank.
Which are basically marketplaces filled with thousands of digital products, right?
Yes, and you can promote them instantly without having to go out and negotiate individual deals with the product creators.
Then there's CPA, or cost per action networks, like PureFly or Max Bounty. This mechanism is wild to me.
It's a very different approach.
Because you don't even have to sell anything to get paid. You get paid $1 or $2 just for getting a visitor to submit an email address or a zip code for like a free trial or insurance quote.
Yeah, you are effectively operating as an outsourced digital door-to-door lead generator for massive data brokers and corporations.
It's a much lower barrier to entry for the consumer, which makes it easier to convert that traffic into cash.
It is. The document then shifts to product creation, making your own digital goods like eBooks, audios, or coaching programs.
And there is a deeply strategic piece of advice here regarding how you price and promote these products to build your own army of affiliates.
This is a really clever tactic.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The author suggests creating a low-ticket item, like a $7 ebook, and then recruiting affiliates to sell it for you. But, and this is the crazy part, they recommend giving those affiliates up to 100% of the commission.
You give away all the profit on the front end. Right. I read that and couldn't figure out why anyone would do all the work to create a product and then give away every single penny of the sale.
It sounds entirely counterintuitive until you filter it through what we discussed earlier about the autoresponder.
Okay, break that down for me.
Well, acquiring a customer is the absolute most expensive part of running any business in both time and money.
Sure.
If you give an affiliate 100% of a $7 sale, what you are actually doing is paying $7 to acquire a proven credit card in hand buyer.
Oh, wow.
You instantly put that buyer onto your autoresponder list. And as we established, a loyal subscriber on your list might spend $5 a month with you on other products forever.
That makes total sense now.
Yeah.
You sacrifice the initial $7 to build a long-term, highly profitable relationship.
Exactly. You're basically crowdsourcing your customer acquisition to an army of affiliates, and you're paying them with the front-end product so you can keep the back-end relationship.
That is brilliant. The source also throws a total curveball with a model called offline marketing.
Which is a hard pivot to the physical world.
Yeah. Setting up a basic website or a mobile-optimized lead capture page, which is just a simple one-page site designed solely to collect an email address or phone number, is a super basic skill for an internet marketer.
Anyone who's done this for a week can build one.
Right. But to a local offline business, like a dentist, a florist, or an independent restaurant, it's practically magic.
They have no idea how it works.
So you can literally walk into a local business and sell those digital skills for several $100s. You get them more foot traffic,
Yeah.
and they happily pay you because it's cheaper and more measurable than taking out a static ad in the local newspaper.
It highlights that the skills you learn in digital marketing are highly transferable. They are incredibly valuable in the traditional economy. You aren't just learning how to sell ebooks online, you're learning how to engineer attention and direct it wherever you want.
However, you could have the greatest funnel in the world, the best local dentist's clients, and a perfectly optimized review page. But if nobody walks through the digital door, you make $0.
The whole system grinds to a halt.
To make the system work, you need eyeballs.
Mhm.
How do we get people to actually see all this infrastructure? The conversation flows right into what the author calls the 4 proven evergreen traffic strategies.
Traffic is the lifeblood. The first method they cover is article marketing.
Okay, what does that involve?
It involves writing short, 400 to 500 word articles and submitting them to directories like Zine articles.
Just giving away free content.
Yes, because other webmasters can freely take your article and publish it on their own sites to provide content for their readers.
But there's a catch, right? They have to include your bio box at the bottom.
Exactly. This is essentially a little advertisement with a link back to your site. So if someone reads your article about alternative medicine on some random blog and likes it, they click your link.
And they arrive at your site as a warm prospect because they already view you as an authority on the subject.
Right. The author provides a very specific mathematical metric for this strategy, too.
Yeah, the search volume rule.
When you write these articles, you should target keywords that, when you type them into Google with quotation marks around them, yield around 20,000 exact results.
Why that specific number?
It represents the sweet spot. There is enough human search volume to generate meaningful clicks, but the algorithmic competition is low enough that an article directory, which already possesses massive authority, can easily claim the #1 spot on Google for you.
Then there is Web 2.0 ranking. This is going back to sites like Squidoo or Huppages.
Right. Leveraging that rented land.
Because Google inherently trusts those massive domains, you can create a single page, or a lens, as Squidoo calls it, targeting a low-competition keyword and instantly rank for it in a matter of hours. You're piggybacking off their established trust instead of waiting months to build your own.
It's a great shortcut. The third strategy is paid traffic, specifically exploring Google AdWords and Facebook ads.
For Google AdWords, the document carefully distinguishes between keyword targeting and placement targeting.
That's an important distinction. Keyword targeting is where your text ad shows up when someone actively searches a specific phrase.
Like, buy dog training collar.
Exactly. Placement targeting is where your visual ad appears on specific websites relevant to your niche. So you catch people either when they're actively searching for a solution or when they're passively browsing related content.
And with Facebook ads, the document emphasizes the raw power of demographic targeting. Because Facebook knows everything about its users' age, gender, interests, location, you can be incredibly precise.
The targeting is unbelievable.
The advice they give is to test your ad in one very specific town or city first. Keep the budget tiny. Measure if it actually gets clicks. Once you prove the ad works locally and turns a profit, only then do you scale it up to a wider geographical base.
This raises an important question about resource allocation, especially when deciding between these methods.
That's exactly what I was wondering. When we talk about free traffic like article marketing versus paid traffic like Facebook ads, is free traffic really free? Or are you just paying with your time instead of your wallet? Because writing hundreds of articles takes hours and hours of manual labor.
The source addresses this dynamic directly. Free traffic is never truly free. It costs your most finite resource, which is time. The document advises that when you are just starting out, you naturally have more time than money, so you write the articles, you put in the sweat equity.
But eventually, that has to flip.
Exactly. The moment your business starts generating consistent cash flow, you must start outsourcing these repetitive, low-level traffic generation tasks. You use your profits to buy back your time.
Freeing you up to focus on high-level creative strategy and coming up with new marketing campaigns.
Exactly. Work on the business, not in it.
The final traffic method they cover is SEO, search engine optimization. They really stress that this is a long-term game.
It's not an overnight trick.
No, it's about building quality content and making sure your site is structured correctly. They use a term called siloing.
Right. Thematic organization.
If you have a site about cats, you want a specific silo or category entirely dedicated to Siamese cats, where all the internal pages link to each other tightly. This helps Google's web crawling bots understand exactly what your site is about by organizing it into clear thematic buckets.
They also share a fascinating technical tip about PageRank.
Yeah, the no-follow tag.
PageRank is the underlying metric Google uses to measure a site's authority. They advise finding internal utility pages that you don't actually need to rank in search results pages, like your About Us page, your contact page, or your sitemap.
When nobody is searching for your specific contact page.
Right. So you add a rel nofollow tag to the links pointing to them. This essentially tells Google's algorithm not to pass your valuable ranking juice to those dead-end pages.
It preserves all of your site's power for the specific pages that actually make you money.
It's a brilliant way to channel the algorithm's attention.
So what does this all mean? We started this deep dive looking at a cover with literal bags of cash and a promise to suck money out of the internet today. But when we actually dug into the mechanics, the truth is entirely different.
It's not glamorous at all.
No. Success doesn't come from a magical trick or a secret loophole. It comes down to rigorous, unglamorous discipline. It's about banishing info overload, putting your head down to do focused one-hour batches of work, owning your digital real estate, capturing leads on an autoresponder, and consistently, methodically driving targeted traffic.
That is the core message we really wanted to extract for you today. Whether you are looking to supplement your income, replace your day job, or you're just deeply curious about the invisible mechanics of the internet economy, the blueprint is right here.
It's all laid out.
The source's final piece of advice is perhaps its best. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, but more importantly, pick one path. Test it, track your results, and take massive action. Seek out a mentor to hold you accountable, but rigidly guard yourself against the snake oil salesman promising effortless wealth.
It's all about building an asset of trust. Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with. Something that wasn't in the document but builds entirely on its foundation. We learned today that a loyal email subscriber is worth roughly $1 a month.
A very consistent metric.
And that valuation exists purely because of the human relationship and trust built over time through an autoresponder sending pre-written messages.
The ability to scale a personal connection.
Right. So if the entire foundation of this internet marketing ecosystem relies on building trust at scale through email, how will this landscape completely shift when artificial intelligence allows marketers to dynamically rewrite every single email to perfectly match the distinct psychology, fears, and desires of millions of individual subscribers at exactly the same time?
Oh, wow. That is a fascinating and terrifying frontier. When the message is no longer just pre-written but personally generated for every single recipient based on their data.
It really makes you wonder. We might look back at this source document with its manual article writing and simple autoresponders as a very quaint, innocent time.
We just might.
Until then, keep your focus sharp. Don't get distracted by the shiny objects. And remember, if you see a book cover promising a cash-sucking business with butterflies flying out of a laptop, well, maybe just keep walking. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.